Good morning, everyone. I think we'll begin now. Thank you for joining our webinar, which will introduce KU Select 2016, which is our third collection. I'm Christina Emery, and I am the Partnership Manager for Knowledge Unlatched. As you may have seen, your microphones are muted, but you can type any questions that you have into the chat box on the right. This webinar will be recorded, and I will send you a link to the recording afterwards, after the webinar. I'm joined today by Giovanni Boselli, who is Marketing and Sales Executive for Casalini Libri. We will be happy to answer your questions at the end of the presentation.
Buongiorno a tutti, benvenuti a questo webinar. Purtroppo per un motivo tecnico non possiamo interagire vocalmente, ma potete scrivere qualunque tipo di domanda alla fine della presentazione nella chat che avete alla vostra destra. In ogni caso vi richiamerò io personalmente dopo questa presentazione in modo da fugare qualunque tipo di dubbio potete avere su questo modello, su questa presentazione, su Knowledge Unlatched in generale. Ogni cosa che dirò in italiano ovviamente la ripeterò anche in inglese, perché è una sessione registrata che poi andrà sul sito di Knowledge Unlatched, a disposizione anche di altre biblioteche. So good morning everyone, I am Giovanni Boselli. Since we cannot interact vocally, I will be able to call you back after this presentation and just to collect any questions or doubts you may have about Knowledge Unlatched. Thank you.
Thanks, Giovanni, and thank you for joining us today. So, this presentation should last around 20 or 25 minutes, and we'll have time at the end for a question and answer session. I'll be giving you details about the collection, as well as some information on what Knowledge Unlatched has planned for the future. I'm sure that you're curious about the new collection, so let's just have a look at all of the details. The pledging period is now open, so libraries can show your support for titles in KU Select 2016. For this collection, a total of 343 books were shortlisted by the Title Selection Committee. This committee is a group of 40 acquisitions and collections librarians from 12 countries. The books that were chosen fall into 16 subject categories in the Humanities and Social Sciences, and we've divided these into 14 packages. For the first time, we're introducing opening access up to backlist titles, so to some older titles, as well as new titles. In order to participate, there is again a minimum amount which libraries will need to pledge. And in order to acknowledge your purchases of additional formats of books that you've pledged for, publishers have agreed to a discount which is 35% off the recommended retail price, and you can claim this directly from the publishers. The frontlist collection consists of 147 new titles in the Humanities and Social Sciences. These titles are scheduled to be published between November 2016 and April 2017. The pledging price per frontlist title per library is €50. The Backlist Collection consists of 196 titles in the Humanities and Social Sciences. We set strict criteria for these titles when we approached publishers. These titles had to be published between 2005 and 2015. And these books should be offered at a greatly reduced price of €12.50 per title per library. So, why is Knowledge Unlatched expanding to backlist titles? A popular request from libraries was that KU increase the number of titles it offers to libraries. We decided to ask publishers for backlist titles that complement the frontlist titles. This is so that researchers and students would be able to have a greater reading selection. So as you're all librarians, you will probably know why monographs are facing difficulties. And we've explained more about this in previous webinars. It's a challenge which faces libraries and publishers, but also academics. And you can see why open access is beneficial for academics in particular in this image here. So this is where Knowledge Unlatched comes in. As you know, many libraries are struggling to afford books. But also authors are finding it harder to get their work published. Many readers are struggling to get access to the books that they want, in spite of the possibilities of digital technology. Now, I mentioned the new Backlist Collection earlier. If the world is to have access to these foundational building blocks of disciplines, then we have to open up backlist titles as well as new books. It's true that some publishers are already making deep backlist titles open, so these older books are no longer selling in any material manner. While there are now ways of funding open access publishing going forward, there is a middle body of content, which we've defined as the last 10 years, which remains closed. And this is what we now need support for to make open, as well as the newer titles, of course. So, what is Knowledge Unlatched? I know it's a new organisation and a new concept to most of you here. Knowledge Unlatched is an award-winning initiative, and we help libraries from around the world to share the costs of making books open access. By open access, we mean available to anyone in the world to read or to download for free on a Creative Commons license. Knowledge Unlatched, or KU, was founded as a not-for-profit organisation by Francis Pinter in London in 2012. In 2015, Lucy Montgomery, who is Director of KU Research, moved to Perth in Australia to become the Director of the Centre for Culture and Technology at Curtin University. And then last year, in 2016, we expanded to Germany with a base in Berlin, thanks to our new Managing Director, Sven Fundt, who is former CEO of publisher De Gruyter. Last July, a new base for KU was announced in Ann Arbor at the University of Michigan Library. So how do libraries from around the world share the costs of making books open access? Publishers are paid a fixed title fee that is split amongst participating libraries. The title fee for new books represents the basic cost of publishing a book. So this is much less than the price of a book through conventional channels, as there are fewer intermediaries involved. Of course, backlist unlatching is much less. because the publisher has already recovered much of their investment, and making it open access will eat into the expected post-publication print sales. I should probably clarify at this point, when I say unlatching, this is our special term that obviously comes from our name, Knowledge Unlatched. And with unlatching, we mean to make a book open access on a Creative Commons license. So this title fee and the payment of the title fee to the publisher allows them to feel confident that they will not make a loss on a book if it's made available on an open access license. And as I mentioned before, discounts are available to libraries who purchase additional formats of any of the books that you pledge for with KU. The next slide shows how the KU model works. We ask publishers to submit titles that fulfill our criteria. And then the Title Selection Committee, which is made up of librarians, votes on the titles. The shortlist is then presented to yourselves, to the wider library community, who then pledge on smaller subject packages within the collection. If enough pledges are secured in order to cover the cost of the title fees, then these books can be made open access, they can be unlatched. Libraries are then invoiced for their selection, and publishers are paid. Libraries will receive MARC records and their own usage statistics reports. In fact, the initial skeletal MARC records are already available on our website for this new collection, which anyone can download. If there aren't enough pledges to cover the title fees, then those packages or those books will not be unlatched. And of course, we won't be invoicing libraries for those books. So far, we've run 2 successful collections, and we've unlatched over 100 books. In the pilot, 28 books from 13 publishers were made open access in the first collection. Since we made these books open access from March 2014, there have been around 74,000 downloads of these 28 books in 183 countries via OAPEN and the Internet Archive. The average is 2,600 downloads per book. And when you compare this to sales of a couple of hundred, as you would expect for closed monographs, this is quite staggering. In addition to this, there have been almost 22,000 page views on the other platform, HarTrust. Of course, these statistics don't include access via publishers' own platforms or via any other routes. In the second collection, round 2, which was last year, another 78 books from 26 publishers were made available on an open access basis. And we started to unlatch those in March 2016. I think there are still 3 books to be made open access because the publication date has slipped. And now here's some exciting news for you. From next week, we will be able to provide usage figures for libraries from the Round 2 collection. So I know here today, you're all new libraries to KU, so you haven't participated yet. But on our news site, and I'll show you some slides in the next one. I'll just go forward, there you go. You can see on our website the statistics for each country. There's an interactive map, which is really great. You can zoom in and have a look and see on a month-by-month basis or overall how many downloads there were around the world. So it's very interesting to have a look at. Anyone, anywhere can access the open access titles by going to our collections website. which you see at the top here. So far, 380 libraries plus consortia have participated in the first two collections. These libraries come from 24 countries around the world, so you can see that there is a global appeal for KU. You can find a list of all participating libraries on our website, www.knowledgeunlatched.org. You can also find there a list of the libraries who have decided to support this third collection, KU Select 2016. There are many reasons why libraries participate in our collections, ranging from a general wish to support the open access cause, to using KU as a viable means to fulfill open access mandates in their countries. KU books are also good value for money. The benefits that Knowledge Unlatched and our model offer attract libraries who seek a sustainable and flexible way to purchase ebooks and at the same time make those books open access. We asked libraries what would encourage them to participate. So as a result, the model reflects this feedback. Recent suggestions involved more books, more flexibility, and more choice. So KU has expanded its offering. We built in a pick and choose option to select titles on an individual basis. And we now allow for early invoicing for libraries who wish to take advantage of their 2016 budget. Our partners include HartiTrust and OAPEN, which both host the open access versions of KU titles. All of our books are preserved by Clocks and by Portico. We've now increased support for handling sign-ups and invoicing. We are again working together with Lyrasis in North America and JISC Collections in the UK. And you can see here at the very top Casalini Libri. We're very happy that they're joining us for this collection, as well as Carga Libri and Schweitzer, who are handling different territories around the world. Okay, let's focus in again on KU Select 2016, the third collection. Here's the list of the 54 publishers who are participating in the new collection. They range from university presses to commercial, as well as OA publishers, and they come from 5 continents: Africa, Asia, Australia, Europe, and North America. You can find this list of publishers in our FAQs and in the title list spreadsheet, which are on our website. I'll give you the link at the end. Knowledge Unlatched knows that it is important for libraries to have a say in the steering of KU and in the content of its collections. We listened to feedback about expanding the subject areas, and we also assembled the title selection committee from nominations. As I mentioned earlier, 40 acquisitions and collections librarians from 12 countries then voted on a list of 681 titles that publishers had submitted for this collection, and these titles all met our criteria. A list of the librarians on the committee can be found on our website. The feedback from the committee was very positive, with some even having difficulties to decide on the great choice. Although I mentioned some figures in the slides at the beginning of the presentation, here are some more details. The front list titles, the new titles, cost €50 per library to unlatch, and the backlist, the older titles, cost €12.50 each. In order to participate, libraries need to pledge for one of two options, and you can see them here on this slide. The first option is to choose both front list and backlist titles, so the complete collection. This costs €9,800, but you can also choose to deselect certain titles, and there's a minimum pledge of 90% of this, which is €8,820. The second option is to pledge for just the front list collection, or the new titles, of 147 books. This costs €7,350, and again, there is a minimum pledge or a minimum selection of 90%, which is €6,616. And these amounts already include the 15% service charge, which is shared equally between publishers and libraries. This covers our costs and allows for the model to be sustainable. The pledging period opened on the 1st of September, and it will end on the 31st of January, so at the end of this month. Libraries should create an account for the library portal at the website here, app.knowledgeunlatched.org. Here you'll be able to view the collection, read about the books, and also place your pledges. So let's take a look at the portal. Once you're logged in, you'll see the front list and click on front list collection. This is the overview of the collection. You can see the list of the packages. You can also see how many titles you've pledged for in each package. And at the top, the amount of pledges confirmed for that collection. You can see the price in both US dollars and euros. If you like, you can pledge for the entire collection by clicking on Select All. You can see here the green circle in the bottom right-hand corner. This is the pop-up chat window. And if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat window, which is connected directly to Casalini Libri, so they'll be able to answer your questions. And of course, you can write in Italian if you wish to. Once you're looking at a package, you can click on any book to read the description and the metadata. Remember that you can download the full title and publisher list as an Excel spreadsheet from our website at any time. You can pledge on 3 levels. You can pledge either by collection or by package by clicking the relevant Select All buttons. Or if you prefer, you can select individual titles on the right-hand side. You can also delete pledges and edit your choices until the end of the pledging period, even if you've confirmed your choice. For further details, there is a guide to pledging, which you can download from our website. Or of course, please get in touch with myself or with Casalini Libri. The pledging period will end on the 31st of January, and we will then assess the pledges we've received to see if the collection or if individual packages or books can be unlatched. Libraries will be informed of the outcome in February, and then KU will start to unlatch the titles. Libraries will receive their invoices in February, and publishers will be paid once the payments have been made. So what's next for KU? Libraries may propose publishers for inclusion into future collections. We're expanding in 2018 to Humanities and Social Sciences journals. And of course, KU will continue its research work into usage and in other metrics. So I've mentioned KU research a couple of times. Let's have a quick look at that in a bit more detail. KU Research was established in 2015, and they are working on finding better ways to track how open access books are being used, and they are developing simple, easy to understand usage reports for libraries, authors, and publishers. Lucy Montgomery, together with PhD researcher Alkeem Azaigan at Curtin University, are leading this research. They found a way to provide libraries with counter-compliant individual usage statistics for their institutions. So these are based on the IP range or the IP addresses. These reports are available for libraries who pledge in our library portal. And here's a preview of the library reports, which I just mentioned. So once you've pledged and the books have been unlatched, the reports will be available for you in the Analytics section of the library portal. Before we move on to the question and answer session, don't forget to write down the address of the library portal so that you can create your own account to have a look at the website. As I mentioned, the pledging period is open until the end of this month, 31st of January. Information about this collection can be found on our main website, and you have the link here. You can also download the title list, as well as these other documents here. In mid-October, we launched a new website, so hopefully you like the new structure and how it looks. Please do send us your feedback if you have any suggestions on the new website. And we regularly use Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, so please connect with us on social media. Thanks for listening to this presentation today. We'll move over now to the question and answers session. So I'll just turn on my webcam, and Giovanni, if you can unmute your microphone to please help me with any questions that come in. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, hello. Buongiorno a tutti. Se avete qualunque tipo di domanda potete scriverla nella chat che avete alla vostra destra, oppure se preferite, io comunque vorrei magari richiamarvi uno a uno in modo da sentire che tipo di dubbi potete avere o comunque i vostri commenti su questo modello di open access che Cristina vi ha appena illustrato. Quindi se avete qualche domanda alla quale volete una risposta ora, scrivetela pure nella chat e vi risponderò. Grazie.
Thank you. Yes, and in case it's not evident, I don't speak Italian, unfortunately, but Giovanni will help us with that.
No problem, Christina. I will help you. Let's see if anybody has any questions, and we can answer them straight away. Otherwise, as I said before, I can just call them back one by one and then answer any questions.
And Giovanni, can I suggest, so for those people who are watching this recording, do you want to perhaps explain Casalini's involvement with KU and the other countries that you're dealing with as well?
Yes, I'll just say that in English also and in Italian. Casalini Libri is partner of Knowledge Unlatched for Italy, France, and Spain. So anybody who will be watching this presentation from KU website and is located in France or Spain can just contact Casalini Libri to get more information about Knowledge Unlatched. E come appunto appena detto, Casalini Libri non si occupa per quanto riguarda Knowledge Unlatched solo dell'Italia, ma anche della Francia e della Spagna, quindi in questo caso copriamo anche questi altri due territori.
Yeah, so it's very useful to have local sales representatives, so you can ask questions in French and in Spanish to Casalini Libri and in Italian.
Exactly.
Okay, there are 3 questions here now. They're all rolling in. So the first question I can answer is in English, great. Are the books in digital format? Yes, that's correct. So all of these books which we're offering, they are all ebooks or electronic books. And I know for this collection, they're all PDF format, but we're hoping to expand soon to other formats. But currently, yes, they're all PDF ebooks. That's correct. And so they're all available. If we're successful, if we get enough pledges, enough participation from libraries, we can make them available as open access. So you go to the websites of OAPEN and HarTrust, and you can download the books from there. And we have the MARC records, so you can load the information, the metadata into your library systems as well.
I just translated also into Italian. Quindi tutti i titoli ovviamente sono elettronici, ovviamente come Cristina ha già menzionato c'è un 35% di sconto possibile su tutti quei titoli sugli stessi titoli che voi prendete tramite Knowledge Unlatched potete avere il 35% di sconto se prendete la versione cartacea. Sono tutti titoli in formato PDF, in futuro ovviamente ci saranno anche altri tipi di formati e sono ovviamente consultabili tramite le piattaforme che Cristina ha fatto vedere prima, quindi HarTrust and Open Access.
Thanks.
Back to you.
Okay, there's a question here in Italian, and I think I understand it. Ci sono libri di editori italiani, francesi o spagnoli? So
Yes.
it's asking if there are any publishers from Italy, France, or Spain, right?
Yes, exactly.
We have, let me think, there are German publishers. Do you know this off the top of your head, Giovanni?
Well, I don't think at the moment, not from Italy, France, or Spain, I don't think.
We have the Netherlands, we have Germany.
Austria, there is one Austrian publisher. I'll say this in Italian and then of course in English. Tutti i titoli sono in lingua inglese, almeno al momento. Ovviamente questo è un modello che se avrà un determinato tipo di successo potrà eventualmente anche essere esteso agli editori di altri paesi e in altre lingue, mettiamola così. Al momento sono tutti titoli in lingua inglese da editori di diverse parti del mondo, però al momento non ci sono editori italiani, spagnoli o francesi, ma ripeto, questo non vuol dire che non ce ne saranno nel prossimo futuro. Well, I just said that there are titles from different countries. I don't think there are titles coming from France, Italy, or Spain.
No.
But there are only English titles at the moment. But that doesn't mean that if any publisher in Italy, Spain, or France that publishes also in English will not have the possibility to get some titles on Knowledge Unlatched.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, like I said, we have, I think it was 54 publishers from 5 continents, so from Africa, Australia, North America, Asia, Singapore. So there's quite a range, but these 3 countries, not at the moment. There's another question come in. Giovanni, I've sent it to you on the chat box.
Okay.
It's in Italian.
I will.
Thank you.
I will. Okay, there are, the question is, there are low titles, okay? In Italian it's diritto.
The subject areas.
Maybe we can go back to the subjects, to the slides with the subjects.
Yeah. This is
now
right.
Christina will show you what kind of subjects the Knowledge Unlatched has selected. I think it's the 4th or the 5th slide, I think.
Okay. So I'm having some technical issues. I'm actually going to our website because...
Sure. I will just
Not
go directly
working.
to
Unless...
knowledgeunlatched.org.
Oh, there we go. It's come back. Okay.
Okay, good.
Yes, so there we go. Can you see this slide? Yep, there we
Maybe the
go.
one before.
So
Exactly.
here are the subject areas. There are 16 subjects in 14 packages. Law is not one of them, but we can certainly suggest it for future collections if there's interest there.
I'll just say it in Italian as well. Appunto al momento non ci sono libri di diritto. Ovviamente questo è un progetto che è partito un paio di anni fa, quindi è abbastanza nuovo e assolutamente, visto che il presidente di Knowledge Unlatched è Sven Fund, che era l'amministratore delegato di De Gruyter. Ovviamente l'interesse è quello di includere anche altri tipi di pacchetti, quindi altri tipi di soggetti, quindi appunto il diritto europeo, il diritto internazionale e così via. Sicuramente nelle prossime, quelle che loro chiamano KU Select, ci saranno sicuramente anche altre aree di interesse. So I just said, Christina, that at the moment there are no low titles, but since it is always an interesting field, uh, I'm sure Sven Fund is also working with the Gruyter, which is also a publisher on that subject, to present a new package perhaps next year with low titles.
Yes, I've made a note and I'll pass on the feedback. Thank you. Okay, are there any further questions? Something of interest to you, perhaps, on our website, you can read some interviews with our authors, which is really interesting. So we sent them a questionnaire before they took part in Knowledge Unlatched about what they thought, of open access. And then we also sent them questions after their books had been made open access to see if their opinion had changed and to read about their experiences with open access. So that's really interesting if you're interested in hearing about open access from the academic's point of view. Okay, there are no further questions that I can see. So I think that's about it for today. Is there anything more you want to add, Giovanni?
Yes, grazie per essere state appunto con noi questa mattina. Mi faccio dare appunto da Cristina la lista di chi ha partecipato e faccio un giro di telefonato giusto per essere sicuro che rispondo a tutte le vostre domande. Se ci sono comunque dei problemi, sono ovviamente sempre in contatto con Knowledge Unlatched e quindi possiamo rispondere a qualunque tipo di domanda o di dubbio. Quindi ci sentiremo tra oggi e nei prossimi giorni per qualunque tipo di domanda potreste avere. Grazie mille ancora. Thank you very much for joining us again, and I'll get in touch with you shortly.
Yes, thank you everyone for joining us today. Thanks so much. And I'll send you a link to the recording when it's online. And if anyone would like the slides, please let me know. Okay, thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Arrivederci.
Ciao.